I've just had a message. Rob is here. Let's go get him. He's had a very long day travelling. He's come all the way from Portimao. And there he is. How be on? It's been a while. Let's get this gate open. Travelling light as always.
Well, yeah, I had to bring 2 bags, unfortunately. Last time I only come with 1 because it was only a few days, but I might be with you a little while longer. So.
Yeah. How are you, boss?
All right, mate.
Good, good.
And I brought me life jacket, my harness.
Here's the team back.
Yeah.
-1.
Yeah, he'll be joining us soon, hopefully. Hey, what are we up to then, Skipper?
So, one of the jobs that I needed Rob to give me a hand with is I am dropping the head sail. In order to do this, I need to unfurl it. We're going to unfurl the head sail. I'm then going to release on this halyard. The reason I'm doing it is because you get chafe. So if you imagine this is the end that's hooked onto the top of the head sail, where it's sat in the roller going down through the mast, this bit chafes and chafes and chafes. So what I'm going to do is drop it all down, cut off probably about a foot where the chafe is, retie it on, hoist it back up. But this is where I'm going to need Rob's help, because there's a foil, I'll show you when we put it back on, that needs to go in a groove. So whilst I'm hoisting on the halyard, Rob will feed it up through. Job done. That's job number 1. The little plan we've got is we're looking at the weather. Today is Monday 24th. Friday we might have some wind to sail to Gibraltar, which is good because we need a tiny little shakedown because the boat's been sat here for a couple of months. Anchor in Gibraltar for a night, then I then want to get to the south side of the straits. On the Moroccan side there is an area which is Spanish. Looks like a little nobula, which is the correct geographical term. And we will anchor there, or maybe go in the marina. It's called
Ceuta.
Ceuta, thank you. I'm so rubbish. Never thought I've got my way all the way down to the Med. And then we will be waiting for the winds, hopefully next week. But you know what it's like, we shall see. So that's the plan in a nutshell. All subject to change in the next 5 minutes. Head sail is down. This was where the halyard was tied on. It was tied on very tight, so I've had to cut it. So as I was explaining earlier, I'm going to come back probably about a foot to the good. I mean, this isn't chafed, this isn't too bad, but it is discoloured, bit of UV damage. That's where it sits in the roller, you can see. So what I'm going to do is just come back to some nice fresh halyard. So the tape, when you cut rope, what it wants to do is splay out. You see them bits there? So by putting tape on it, when you cut, it leaves the end nice and clean. You then want to burn it.
Does it look right?
It kind of looks right. I'm going to run with it. If the head sail falls off,
it'll be your fault.
It's on me.
Yeah. Well, it won't be my fault.
But there we go, halyard hitch. Normally you have 2 turns. There was 3 on that one, so I've just put 3 on it. Belt and braces, nice and secure. Now I could just snip this end, get it nice and close, which I don't think it's going to cause too much issue, so I'm going to leave it where it is. But normally, if you wanted to tidy it up, it'll only be an inch off there. But what difference does an inch make? Apparently not. Right, so like I said, what we've got to do now, this is where the second man comes in to his own. I'm going to pull on this halyard that I showed you earlier, which goes up through the mast, and it comes all the way down to the head. And then what Rob's going to do is feed the front of this sail into that foil. Okay, ready? So
into this
there you go.
Hopefully.
So if he wants to put that in, I'm going to come down a bit. And then see how it's in, and what I do is I start pulling on the halyard and it goes up. So I'm going to have to put the camera down for the time being, so I can start pulling on this halyard. You ready? these little links. One. Rob and I are on a mission to go and get some oil. One thing I want to spares is engine oil and gearbox oil, and this is now my new mascot. I'm gonna, after that killer whale encounter, I think I need to strap that to the bow.
I'm gonna put it in your cabin
as a deterrent against any further killer whale attacks. Another jobbed. There's Rob, the liquid carrier. So we've got the engine oil, we've got some coolant, we've got gearbox oil, and some hydraulic oil. The job has come up that I've been a little bit dreading, to be honest. It's quite a dangerous job, but it needs to be done. I need to go up the mast and check the rigging. To do this, you use what we call a bosun's chair. It looks like a bit of an adult nappy, but how it's going to work is I'm going to clip myself on, clip myself onto.
I'm showing them your nappy.
Clip myself onto the main halyard, and then Rob, with his massive muscles, are going to use this. It's going to use this winch. Halyard's going to be on, and he's going to winch me with the winch handle. It is electric, however, I'm fat and I'll probably burn out the motor. So, and then he's going to winch me up the mast. I'm going to use my topping lift line, which is a line that sits on the back of the boom that holds the boom up, as a safety line. So I'll also have that in. So he's going to have to sort of jump between the two, take me up 2 meters, pull up the slack on the safety line 2 meters, take me up 2 meters, and then whilst I'm going up, I've got my bag of trusty tools, got bits and pieces. I'm going to clean the rail that the slides go up on, run out to the spreaders, check all the rigging attachments, make sure all the parts are not rusted and there's no splits anywhere, everything's good, and just check everything on the way up and then come back down. So hopefully see you when it's done. That's me just up to the first set of ferrules on the shrouds. So what I'm going to be doing is front and back, checking that the wires are not splayed, split, no major rust. So my standing rigging, all of this stuff was new back in 2000, so it should all be good. So far it looks well, and then what I'm going to do in a sec is just walk across the spreader out to that ferrule, and then on the port side. So as you can see, that's the standing rigging going down to the deck. And there's Rob. He's not, you're not blown out just yet, are you?
Not yet.
Good. That's me up a bit further. I've got as far as my radar dome, my deck light, and my radar reflector. So all I'm doing now is checking the brackets on each of these, and I'll make sure all those connections are good. Might give it a bit of a wipe while I'm up here, and then carry on up to the next lot of spreaders. Here we are, top of the mast, top of the world. Gibraltar in the background over there, marina, and there's Rob down the bottom. So the last checks, the ferrules at the top, starboard, port, again making sure there's no wires fraying. The rollers up in the top of the masthead is good and free moving. My Windex, when I get a free hand, I'll check all the bits in there and go around the front to check that block for the chute halyard, and you're on the side there. And we had this down yesterday when we had done that checker there, so that should be good. So I'm just going to do all bits and pieces. Then what I've got some silicone spray, not WD-40, it's WD-40 but it's silicone. You don't want to use WD-40 on anything where there's salt, it's not the best. And I've cleaned this groove. This is where, this groove there that you can see, that's where the sail, it's the rail for the sail clips slide up here. So I just give that a bit of a grease, and hopefully the sail will slide up a bit easier. See you on the ground. Another job I had to inspect is all the way down through the luff of the sail. You've got these connections, different connections. As you can see, that's how it goes up. And I noticed that these little bungees that are held on with these little toggles kind of getting a little bit worn, bit tatty, bit stretched. So I've decided I'm going to replace those. So I've taken one apart, been up to the chandlery and got some brand new bungee. So it's a matter of just putting it all back together, and then that'll all be these, nice and new. So here's all the bits stripped down. So this bungee goes through the toggle out the other side, and when it comes out the other side, it's then this crimped. Now I haven't got any other wire, so I'm just going to reuse these, crimp it back on, and then it sits back in the toggle. What I'm not going to do with this new bungee I've got, I won't do it exactly the same size, because I imagine over time this would have stretched. So I'm going to cut this one just a couple of mil shorter, so it's just got a nice bit more spring in it. And there we have it, the new one put together. I'll go put it on the sail. All replaced, all nice tight new bungees. Just hoist the main, the halyards attached. And there we have it. Nice new bungees, nice tight luff. Good to go. Good morning. It looks like it's extremely early, however it's not. It's 8:15. It's just getting lighter later in the mornings and darker earlier at nights. So we are on our way to Gibraltar for the day.
We are.
The chandlery here isn't the best, and when we do finally get down to Gibraltar, we may have to anchor. So I just figured, why don't we just get the bus down, do a bit of shopping when we're there, and then when we do go down to anchor, ready to go to the Canaries, we don't have to worry about loading up the dinghy with stuff. So that's the plan today.
That's why we got the rucksacks on now, look, see?
There we go.
Hey?
Gonna load up with the rucksacks. Here we are travelling to Gib.
Pair of bus wallies we are today.
Just got off the bus in La Linea, which is on the border to Gibraltar. There's the rock. And La Linea, Spain, is separated by a runway, which I'll show you in a minute. Quite interesting. And then we're heading back into UK territory. God save the King. And that's the runway we cross. Okay, so we've just come to Ocean Village Marina, who I emailed the other day. They said they didn't have any space, and as it turns out,
We got kept space.
that little space, a guy I know from Portland, Kev, marine engineer, electrical engineer, had that exact spot apparently. So he's kept it warm for us, so that's brilliant. So today is Wednesday. Saturday we got some wind. Friday, Saturday we got some wind. We're just going to head on down, come in here and stock up, refuel, and get ready for the hairy Canaries. Did notice.
That's pretty. Post box in we. Stop here and have a cup of drink, or do you want to just crack on?
Good morning. Here we are, Thursday 27th So the plan today is to head out. There's meant to be a little bit of wind come in. We'll have a little shakedown sail, put the hydrovane on, see if we can work that out. So prior to leaving, you do your engine checks. I opened the engine bay earlier and there is some oil again. Okay, that little bit of oil in there. So when I come back to the boat after a couple of months, it was more of a substantial amount. I wiped it up thinking maybe it's just where I filled the oil some time back when I done an oil change. Maybe it was sat on top of the engine, ran down. However, my trusty assistant has managed to find a slight leak. It's on the front, on the bell housing. But in the meantime, we have also spotted more leaks coming from the injectors. Let's get to the side. So sat in these little pockets, if I can get my torch in, we found a little bit of diesel. So these, and you can see on top of the injectors, it's a bit shiny. So they're leaking. So the job we are about to do is loosen these injectors. Need to get back here to the other end, which are, if you can, might not be able to see. I don't think you can see. Anyway, we need to loosen the other end so that these pipes are free. Yeah, undo these clips so that it's all free. And then reseat these. And hopefully that should stop the leak of diesel. Right, let's get to it. If you remember back in the earlier episodes, I bought and fit this hydrovane. I've not had a chance to use it yet because I was using this rudder, its rudder, as a emergency rudder. If the Orca did take off a rudder, I've got one to get me into port. The thing that sits on the top, the vane itself, is also here. Hopefully there'll be a bit of wind. It's not too windy in the marina, but we're hoping when we get out there's going to be a nice breeze. We're going to have a play with it, get it set up, and get it ready for when we cross the Atlantic. So first thing I want to do is make sure that the thing itself is not going to fall in the water when I'm fitting it. So I have tied a line to the boat, and I will now tie a line to the rudder itself. Get the safety pin ready to connect in and put the rudder on. That's the rudder on. Next job, stick the vane on. On the vane you've got a recess, it slides in. If you can see here, you undo this nut, you've got a gap. Do it up, nice and tight. That's your vane on. Here we go. Engine's on, everything's running. Rob's up on the bow. So yeah, it's the most nerve-wracking part for me. I'm really nervous, to be honest. I've not taken her out in a couple of months, a bit longer I think it might be. So it's making sure I don't break the boat or other people's boats. And then it's, you know, getting sailing again. I've not done it in a couple of months. I'm sure it's like riding a bike. We'll find out. Ep.18 Marina. This is sailing vessel Weymouth Warrior. Radio check over.
Here is Ep.18 Marina. I hear you low and clear over.
Weymouth Warrior. Thank you again for a fantastic stay. That is us departing the marina, and I hope to see you in the future. Thank you. Out.
Here is Ep.18 Marina. Okay, thank you for your stay with us. I hope to see you soon. Nice trip. Over and out.
Okay, so what I can gather from how you set this up, you trim your sails, which pretty much done. You get your vane set to wind. So at the moment my wind's coming probably just over the port beam, so I'm going to set it up facing there. When it's sort of flip-flopping around, that means it's set. If it pushes itself to one side and pins, it means the wind's hitting that and it's going to want to steer your boat. So I get that so it's just flip-flopping about, and then when I'm happy the boat's kind of sailing on the correct course, I lock the helm, and then I will engage the gear, and hopefully the Hydrovane's rudder will keep us on the course we're going. So I'll keep it on 170. Unfortunately we was just doing 3.5 knots. See, now it's gone into standby because there's not enough wind. I think it's just very, very light winds, and we're going too slow for the Hydrovane to actually keep course, but we'll see what happens. Typically, just as I finish explaining what we was going to try and do, the wind has just dropped. It's not really enough to even try the Hydrovane really, but maybe tomorrow, or maybe not tomorrow. Actually, we're heading down to Gib tomorrow, and the closer we get to Gib, there's those big horrible black and white fish that hang around, and I know they're not fish. Someone commented they're mammals. I know they're mammals, I just call them black and white fish to disrespect them because they were horrible. I'm joking, they're beautiful animals and I love them, and no harm should come to them. But yeah, so I think we're gonna drop the sails. It was good to get them up, and go into anchorage. Think about putting the kettle on or something, I suppose. One thing you can do when you anchor is you put out an anchor buoy. One of them's. So the idea is when you drop your anchor, you'll have a line all the way down, tied off onto your anchor. And then when you put your anchor down, this buoy will stay above, roughly above where your anchor is. You've got to get your depths right. I've looked at the chart. The lowest mean tide is 6 meters where I'm going to be anchoring. Not massive tides around here, about 1 meter, so that's 7. But for, you know, just to be sure, I've give 8 meters on the line. Secured it onto the anchor. And then just going to tidy up the extra loose bits. So recently I was watching a YouTube video of a couple that I follow, chasing currents. They are brilliant. Go and have a look, see what they're up to in their 28-foot stag. And someone next to him in the anchorage dragged. Their anchor went, the other people's anchor went over their anchor, or talisman's anchor, caused them to drag. They ditched everything, had to ditch the chain, everything's gone. They went to snorkel to find it, couldn't find it. And my chain's bigger, I've got a bigger boat, bigger anchor, bigger chain, bigger expense. I don't really want to have to ditch all of that equipment onto the seabed and not find it. So it's good practice to put an anchor buoy down, but it also allows other people coming into the anchorage to know roughly where your anchor is, so they don't put over you or on it or whatever. So this is the first time I'm doing it. I'm kind of making it up as I go along as to how to, you know, the best way to sort of attach this buoy and throw it in. If anybody has a good technique, you know, just to get the depth right, the last thing I want to do is tie it too short, so that when the anchor drops down, the buoy goes down with it, under, you know, 1 meter under the water. But then I don't want the line so long that it drifts 4 meters away from where my anchor actually is positioned, and then when I come to pick the anchor up, I've now got all that line, you know, with worry of getting caught in the prop, even if it does happen to go back that way. So what I've done is I've just measured off 8 meters, sorry, tied it off onto the fluke on my anchor, and I've got 8 meters of line. And like I say, the last couple of meters, few meters, I shall just tidy up, and it will sit down the bottom with it. So as I say, if anyone knows a better way, please leave a comment and let me know. Let's see how this goes. Good morning. Woke up at anchor. When we woke up, it was fog, so I went back to sleep for a bit because we had a bit of a rolly night. However, it's clearing. Not so much where we're going, so I'm not going to weigh anchor just yet. Everything's pretty condensated. Lovely little anchorage though. So just going to finish the coffee, start the motor, start heading down to Gibraltar.
Bread. Yeah.
Just it's a very interesting combo of specs you've got going on there.
Well, I'm blind and it's sunny, so this is my combination, okay, of how I roll when it's sunny and I got to write a shopping list to provision.
In the meantime, we are slowly approaching Gibraltar. You've seen the film Gorillas in the Mist, where there is actual monkeys up on the top, so we're going to call this Monkeys in the Fog. One thing I very nearly forgot, the old courtesy flag. Gibraltar, even though it is UK territory, it's got its own flag. So I'm gonna hoist that now, take the Spanish down, put this one up. As per usual, in all the excitement and stress, I forgot to press the record button, but here we are on the fuel pontoon, gonna fuel up, which is one less job to worry about on the way out. And then we are in a really nice little spot somewhere over there, I can't remember.
Right. Clear.
Yeah, cheers bud.
Clear.
I'm gonna go perfect.
You take it easy, you've got everything under control.
Yeah, well I don't know about that, it might look like it, but really I haven't. That's coming in. That's good there, mate. We are in fairly tight little spot. If I come back here, it's not too bad. I've got into tighter places, but here we are, Gibraltar Ocean Village Marina. Gonna nip to the chandlery, pick up the couple of bits that I bought the other day, then come back and do customs. They were super nice and just said sort your bits out first. So I'll shut her down, and then definitely time for a few beers. What do you reckon, big boy?
Definitely. Always time for a few beers.
I am going to attempt to walk to the top of Gibraltar. I've done it twice. Once when I was in the Navy, before I was in the Army. I was 17 years old and a lot slimmer than what I am now. And the other time I come in here to play golf about 4 years ago, and we've done it then, so see if I can do it again. I don't actually know where I'm going, but I know I want to get to the top of the island. If it's an island, I don't think it's an island. I want to get to the top, so I'm just going to go up. Any road that goes up, I'm going to take it. Up, 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 up. My plan is foiled. This road went up, now it's down. Bit of a disappointment. I think what I've done is I've gone up, come down, and now on the main road it's going to take me up to Europa Point, which is where I wanted to go. It's kind of like the start, but I guess I got some steps in, and I didn't end up in someone's back garden. If you watched the episode when I was in Viana de Castello, took a bit of a wrong turn, ended up in someone's back garden. At least that didn't happen this time. Somebody's a fan of Game of Thrones. Right guys, this is going to seem like a bit of a strange edit. As you can see, I've trimmed my beard and cut back my lovely flowing locks even shorter. Yesterday I was going to attempt to walk to the top, but I got as far as here, spin you around, where the road splits to Europa Point and Upper Rock. I've not been to Europa Point, so I went that way yesterday, and by the time I was walking back, it's quite a way out to the south of the island, which is the footage you've just seen. The time I was coming back, it was getting a bit late, and because I'm super unfit, it was getting dark. My plan has been foiled yet again. The last time I was here, quite a few years ago, I don't remember having to pay to go up the hill. Maybe I did, but I just don't remember doing it. So I've only got a bottle of water in my bag. I didn't bother bringing my wallet because I was going for a walk. I didn't think I'd have to pay £16 just to get up through a barrier to get to the top of the hill. But it is what it is, you know. So yeah, just walking back down. That was that. I'll go do a passage plan, ready to leave tomorrow then. But I got some exercise and I got to the Hercules, Pillars of Hercules, and I've shown you the Europa Point. So that'll have to do, I'm afraid. I've just realised something. I've got my phone in my bag as well. These days it's all Google Pay, isn't it? Ah, bugger. I'm not walking all the way back up there again. Sorry. This is it. The time is upon me to passage plan from where we are here, Gibraltar, out of the Gibraltar Straits to roughly in line with Cadiz, and then take a 225 degrees bearing, following it all the way down into Las Palmas in the Gran Canaria. Wind's not looking great. It's going to fire us out of here tomorrow, but by tomorrow evening it just totally dies. So I'm going to have to motor maybe for 6 hours or so just to get away from the traffic. You can see, if you can see on there, I don't know if it's going to zoom, but you've got a TSS, a traffic separation zone. Very, very, very busy area in through the Straits. So I'd like to get away from this area as much as I can and then drift until I believe Wednesday night, when the winds should start giving us a bit of a northerly, which means we can then come down, and then as we go further around I believe they swing a bit, will push us. I've looked at the waves. They'll be fairly calm to start with, and then as we're sort of around here we're going to be looking at a couple of meters on the beam, so it's going to be very uncomfortable. By Monday there's a massive high pressure up here at the moment, and there's 10-meter waves that's pushing down. Or they obviously dissipate as they come down, but by Monday, I'm hoping we'll be around here, we're looking at nearly 4 meters waves on the beam, which isn't good, as I've got a 4-meter boat, and they say that a wave the same size as your beam crashing onto your beam is enough to capsize you. So ideally, the winds Thursday, Friday, they are picking up. I would like, hopefully, to pick up some steam and get into the Canaries, or at least in the lee of Madeira. I looked at the wave patterns, and as it hits here, the waves, you know, they sort of get sheltered here. So I'm kind of hoping, as long as I'm in here somewhere, I might not get the full brunt, but we'll see what we get. Hopefully the winds might change and give us a little something. If not, there's normally, I think, looking at it, about a knot of current. So I'm not just going to sit here. The current runs down this coast, so, you know, if anything, even if there isn't a breath of wind, I can still do a knot, you know, so I'll be on the move. that's that. So I've got all my tides, you know, you've got your tide times. You have to make sure that you get that right coming out of the straits so they can fire me out and I'm not battling against them. So it's looking like 9 o'clock in the morning, maybe 9:30. Just slip lines and then get going. One thing you find is you get what you call pontoon walkers, which are people trying to get further south to the Canaries to get across to the Caribbean and, you know, just either carry on cruising through the Pacific or just to explore. And it's a lot of, you know, sort of people who like to live free. I've come across one next door. The boat next door is a charter boat that's going down there, and a young lad called Andy has managed to get on it. He's cycled his way round. He's just dismantled his boat as we speak because it needs to go on here, but I'll let him do the rest of the talking. Hey Andy, hey. Nice to meet you. So tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, like I'm a lost cyclist somewhere trying to squeeze that wonderful thing in a boat. I'm traveling with this mouse. She usually explains me on how to figure out things, but this is quite new, meeting this salty environment.
Okay. Yeah.
And yeah, we'll be far away from land.
So, when did you leave Germany?
I've been there in August for 4 months, but yeah, some time ago with this bicycle. 2015. 2015.
Wow, left Germany.
Like I came back and go and come.
And you said earlier you've been up to Iceland.
Not Iceland, but 2 times Norway.
Oh, it's at Norway. Oh, okay.
Like, once I took a ferry in March.
Yeah.
And was just searching for cans. Like you get 1 kroner can, and then space the ferries. And then another time together with a nice friend. Started in Christmas. And we went from Trelleborg up to the north of Norway to
nice
to the winter with the spike tires and shovels to dig our holes.
And then you say you've also done Asia, is that right?
Yeah, together with another super lovely friend. He came up with the idea of cycling to the Himalayas, and
oh, wow.
So yeah, we had nothing else to do, so we just started.
So you just rode to the
Himalayas, Iran and Central Asia and the Pamir and the Karakoram.
Nice.
Yeah.
And now you've managed to hitch a ride with these guys.
Oh no, it doesn't work. Yeah.
So you hitched a ride with these guys. They're a they're a race company. So you're going to jump on with them, get down to the Canaries, and then from there over to.
If someone sees this video and wants to give me a ride somewhere to the Americas.
Yeah, you want to get to the Americas.
I would love to go somewhere between Alaska and Patagonia, and then do the rest by bike.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, wish you the best of luck, mate, and thanks for your time, and see you down the Canaries maybe.
Yeah.
Cheers, man. We have just got back from the shop for a 3rd time over the last few days for provisions. So we've waited till today, Sunday, to get the meats, the fresh meats, because we are heading out first thing tomorrow. So what you can see Rob's doing at the moment, taking labels off of the tin goods. Now, what you need to remember though, is to write what it is. I know some people have forgot after taking the label off, and then it's a bit of a lucky dip if you're having, you know, sort of tin veg for dinner or tin peaches. So just remember to write it on. What Rob's also doing is we've got the dates of the chicken, so we know which one, the chicken, the beef and the sausages, we know which meats we need to use first. And he's also going to write a meal plan to give you a rough idea, so you're not out at sea trying to decide, you know, what you're doing, bits and pieces. Snacks, sweeties, just bits and pieces, stuff that you can grab at lunch times. What I need to do is go and check my Iridium Go, which is my satellite weather system, what I get. It was working across the Biscay. I can't seem to get a signal at the moment, but I think it's because I'm in a marina surrounded by loads of VHF masts and all the rest of it. So I'm going to head out for a coffee after I've cleaned the boat to find a nice big open space and trial that out to make sure we can get weather at sea. In the meantime, I need to try and find space to put the rest of our bits. Okay, I'm going to leave this episode here, guys. As you can see, I'm still editing this episode, but I've run out of time. We're leaving first thing in the morning, and I just wanted to get this one out. You'll notice that normally I have little bits of music on there and probably better editing, but I just wanted to get this one out because the next one that you'll see will hopefully be the passage down to Gran Canaria, and it won't be me getting rescued in my life raft. I am slightly concerned at the back end of this passage, got some big seas coming, but yeah, I just wanted to get this one out. The first you'll probably hear of the success or failure of the passage will be on my Instagram, also called Weymouth to the World, so go and add that page to your Instagram. I've not got it on private or anything, so you can just go and add it. Yeah, so I'm really nervous. I'm going to finish off a few little bits, get the boat ready early, and then slip the lines. So see you all on the flip side.